Hey there, welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this, you've probably been wondering, how do you know when a woman is really done with you? It's something that many of us have gone through at some point, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, or just a romantic connection. You feel like something's off, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Well, today we're diving into a topic that's been on a lot of minds. If a woman is done with you, there are some signs you just can't ignore. And trust me, if you're paying attention, you will see them. Now, it's important to keep in mind that every person is different. We're all shaped by our past experiences, our personalities, and how we handle emotions. But there are some universal signs that you can look for when a woman is checking out of a relationship emotionally or mentally. These aren't just small red flags. These are big signals that you should notice if you're paying attention. So, let's start with the first thing you'll notice: the change in communication. Communication is key in any relationship, right? If a woman has suddenly stopped initiating conversations or replying with short, one-word answers, it's a huge red flag. It's as if the emotional connection between the two of you starts to fade. Think about it. Early in the relationship, she would have wanted to talk to you about her day, her thoughts, her feelings. But now, she's distant, maybe even seems indifferent. The conversations feel like a chore. If you notice that she's no longer engaging with you the same way, that's a huge sign. It's almost as if she's mentally checked out already. You can feel it in her energy, but it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about the body language. Have you ever noticed how powerful non-verbal communication is? You can say all the right words, but if the body language doesn't match, that's a clear signal. And if she's pulling away physically, whether it's not holding your hand anymore or avoiding being close to you, then it's almost like she's building an invisible wall. When a woman is done, she may not even want to be near you. She might start avoiding eye contact, or her body might turn away when you try to engage with her. This is something people often miss because they're so focused on verbal cues. But body language doesn't lie. If she used to lean in when you talked, make that little smile when you said something sweet, or laugh at your jokes, even when they weren't funny, those are all signs of affection. But once that's gone, the distance starts showing up physically. 2. Now, let's talk about something that can sometimes be even more telling: the lack of effort. Relationships take work from both sides. But if a woman has stopped putting in effort, whether it's planning dates, checking in with you, or even making the effort to make you feel special, that's when you really need to pay attention. The thing about effort is that it's optional, in the sense that it's only given when someone values something. If she doesn't value the relationship anymore, that effort just disappears. It's not that she's too busy or doesn't have time. It's that she's simply not choosing to invest anymore. And here's where it gets even more tricky: emotional withdrawal. This is where things get a bit complicated. When a woman is emotionally done with you, she might still be physically present. She might still go through the motions, like sharing meals, maybe even hanging out, but emotionally, she's checked out. This is the kind of thing that feels so subtle at first, but over time, you start to notice that the little things that used to make her light up are gone. She doesn't ask about your day the way she used to. She doesn't seem to care about your successes, and she doesn't seem invested in your future. There's just this sense of emotional disconnection. Now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about criticism. It's normal for people in relationships to have disagreements or moments where they don't see eye to eye. But if you notice that she's becoming overly critical or picking fights for no reason, it could be a sign that she's lost interest. When someone stops caring, they start nitpicking. They're less forgiving and more focused on pointing out your flaws. It's like they're trying to make themselves feel justified in checking out emotionally. And it's not that she doesn't care about the relationship anymore. She's just no longer invested in keeping it together. But you know what? The biggest sign that a woman is done with you, it's when she stops trying to make you a priority. Now, we all know life can get busy, but there's a big difference between being busy and just being disengaged. When someone is emotionally invested in you, you're still a priority. Whether it's finding time for a quick call or just sending a text to check in, they'll find a way to show they care. But if she's making little to no effort to include you in her life and you find yourself on the back burner, that's a huge sign that things are changing. And let's talk about the future for a second. This one's subtle, but it's so telling. If you've noticed that she's stopped making future plans with you, whether it's something small like planning a weekend getaway or something bigger like discussing long-term goals, it's a huge sign. When a woman is emotionally involved, she'll talk about the future, your future together. But when she's done, she's no longer envisioning that. You might even find her getting defensive when you talk about long-term plans. It's as if the idea of a shared future doesn't excite her anymore. One thing to keep in mind here is that some women don't always directly express that they're done. Sometimes it's not about what she says. It's about what she doesn't say. She may be distancing herself slowly, and it can be easy to miss the signs if you're not looking carefully. But the good news is these signs, like lack of effort, emotional withdrawal, and the lack of future talk, are there for you to notice. Now, I'm not saying this to make anyone feel bad or hopeless. Relationships can be tricky, and sometimes people drift apart. But it's important to notice the signs early. The quicker you notice, the better equipped you'll be to have a conversation, make decisions, and move forward, whether that means fixing the relationship or knowing it's time to let go. So, what should you do if you start noticing these signs? Well, first and foremost, communication is key. Don't be afraid to sit down and talk about it. Have an open, honest conversation about where you both stand. Relationships are a two-way street, and sometimes misunderstandings happen. But if you've tried to communicate and the efforts continue to feel one-sided, then it might be time to think about what's best for both of you. Thanks for sticking with me through this one. Relationships can be complicated, but understanding the signs that someone's pulling away can help you save time and energy and protect your own emotional well-being. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so we can keep exploring these topics together. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep being true to what you need and deserve.